age and youth are the things that cannot be compared. What was she trying to convey? This was written more than 1,000 years ago by Sei Shōnagon, one of the greatest literary figures in Japanese history. Shōnagon wrote the pillow book during her time as a court lady to Empress Consort Teishi in Heian period of Japan. She was likely in her mid-30s when she completed the work. Shōnagon navigated a world where political influence eluded her, choosing instead to champion the immediate beauty and joys of her surroundings as the true source of value.
So when we talk about the pillow book, I think that Sei Shōnagon was possibly a lot, sometimes she was kind of the Jane Austen, wasn't she, of medieval Japan, and talking a lot about courtiers and things going on, but really she was talking about their world and their society and the way in which women were captured. And of course, in the 70s, when I was reading the pillow book, that was very much speaking to me.
Reading her ancient words today, as I'm in my late 50s, I often ponder, what if Shōnagon were writing about our world today? To explore this, I invited 5 women from the Modern Pillow Book Project to join me in conversation. Like Shōnagon, the zuihitsu of our older women today seldom voice direct personal laments. Instead, their sorrow manifests with captivating subtlety through quiet introspection, keenly detached observation, or brief passing disappointments. This deliberate restraint leaves us to wonder about the unspoken depths of their experience, inviting us to read between the lines.
During this stage of my life, I am right now an empty nester. So last year, my older daughter just got married, and my younger daughter she moved away from home. And I thought that I had more time, but personally, I do have more time to myself. So my older daughter's occupation right now, for me, it looks like she's been through a lot, and I wanted to help her, but I don't know how to help her. So whenever she came home and tell me about her daily life, I would feel worried for her because she had not been able to have enough sleep, and I worry about her health. And I know that there's nothing I can do about it. So I guess I just constantly worry about my daughter.
A woman living alone should have a house that is dilapidated and with weeds in the garden, Shōnagon once stated. She saw such a garden, even one full of mugworts, not as neglected, but as a vibrant, fitting companion for a solitary woman, a perspective a modern woman can truly appreciate.
She's talking about living in debris and that kind of thing. And I live in an old house. And so right away that resonated with me. I'm kind of into imperfection. So I'm oftentimes ill at ease if I'm in a perfect situation. Like, I mean, now I have marked issues with my skin, and my sister-in-law wanted me to start wearing a makeup to cover it up, and I just sort of think, this is me. Like, my teeth aren't straight, and they're starting to yellow, and I've got dirt in my fingernails today. But I actually feel that if you can be imperfect, it relaxes people around you.
However did I pass the time before I knew you. I think of that past time as I pass each passing day in lonely sorrow, lacking you. This poem, found within the Pillow Book, expressed deep personal longing and the sorrow of absence for loved ones. Its echoes still resonating today.
I write stories about my two sons that are gone to keep their memory alive. I write stories about growing up on a farm and sort of all the freedom I felt with that.
Well, my limitations are with memory. I can feel that is definitely quite different from the past. I forget things so easily nowadays. And then hearing, I don't hear so well as before. I still can walk around comfortably. I can even run, I don't jump anymore. Another limitation that I feel more about now, even though it has been here ever since I emigrated, is the fact that my country, my home country, is so far away. And it's hard to let go of, even though I emigrated here quite willingly and I have enjoyed it too. The village of where my cousins still live, which was my father's village, I've had memories ever since I was a little child. So that's the one place that still feels like home when I go back there. In the 90s, I'm with my two daughters who were 8 and 11 in those days. While my husband was working around the world, I decided to go to France to spend a school year. It turned out to be 3 years. And it felt very strange because it was both close and far away, being there as returning 20 years after coming to Canada as an immigrant and feeling a stranger in my own country. Because going visiting friends and family, that's one thing. When you go and live there, and you're on your own with your kids and you have to adjust to everything that has changed in 20 years, it's very different. I felt actually like a stranger in my country. It took me a few months, maybe even the first school year of my kids to feel really at home again. And then 3 years later, when we had to come back here, that's when I found it hard to come to Vancouver, because by then I had become French again. Coming and going is quite a strange experience. Now, after more than 30 years back here, I've become Canadian again, but I'm still torn between the two.
Lately, the unexpected changes I have to go through, it was the loss of a loved one, and it was my husband. Now it's like I was cut in half, so I have to learn. I'm slowly learning how to feel secure of myself. I'm a reserved person. This is the first time I'm talking about this, by the way, but I decide to do it because maybe it helps to other people. I don't say it's good to do this or to do that, because every single person is different and we all have different feelings, different way of doing things. I learned how to do it myself. I accept my new way. It's hard. I accept it to live day by day. I am preparing myself for the unexpected.
Well, as you go older, you don't have the same hormonal makeup. You become a different person. Nobody prepares you for old age. It's kind of like nobody tells you what it's going to be like when your mother dies. You don't know what that's like until that happens. And it's quite something when your mother dies. It's a big deal. I think that's true of old age. Nobody tells you. There's nobody writing. I'm really eager to do that. I want to write something from the front lines. As for death, death is a hard one. You know what? Death is scary. I don't think anybody can say they're not scared of death. I think that's a lie. Because, you know, we don't know what it is. It could just be oblivion. That's what Margaret Atwood says. She says, into oblivion. Yikes. And here you are with all your color and beauty and strength and sex drive and love and lust and everything, and it's going to be reduced to a little pile of ashes. You know? So I'm just unusual, but yikes. I don't like that idea. But on the other hand, I don't want to stick around forever, because as I'm getting older, I'm losing physical capacity. And a good day is a day I don't have any pain, right? So you don't want to live forever, because that's just going to get worse. So at the same time, and you don't want to live at well, what if you just lived all the time at 35? No. I'm going to have more and more health crises. And that's the Buddhist teaching. Birth, sickness, old age, death. So I'm working very much on adjusting to that idea. And I think this is one of the things that has really given me a lot of heart. And I find that there's sort of this undercurrent of depression, or the invitation to be depressed. And my job is not to go there. But what I like to think, and my husband has come up with this, that imbalance is what tells you you need to get in balance. So imbalance is a part of balance. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me. And so I find that one of my daily challenges is always kind of related to getting in balance. I have to eat right, and I have to get my sleep, and I can't get dehydrated, and on, because one little thing goes off, and that maybe you can get away with that, another little thing goes off, and eventually there you are, you're kind of a mess, and you don't feel good, and that invites depression. And we don't want to go there, because we know what we're going to think about when we go to there.
It's quite charming to see women huddle intimately together, sharing the letters they just received as they discuss how to respond. For me, poignancy here lies in the quiet intimacy of women sharing vulnerabilities, offering support, and sharing their identities and bonds through the letters. This communal act steeped in female companionship is something I believe we desperately need to rediscover today.
So this just past weekend, my younger daughter came home from school. I mean, she's studying in Toronto. So when she was home, I showed her the accordion book to her, and told her that this is the book that we are working on with Keiko-san. And then she said, "Oh, that's so lovely." And then she said, "Oh, what would you put in that book?" So then I showed her the prompts, and then to my surprise, she sat down and read through it. And reading through the prompts, she sometimes laughed and sometimes she showed surprises.
Gratitude is the most powerful thing. If I'm struggling with something, I write, and I'm usually able to get clarity. So writing is a wonderful tool for me. And often I go to gratitude. I think making people feel comfortable, making people feel they belong, is really, really important. And I do that in the garden too, the community garden that I'm in. And when new people show up, I think it's really important that people feel comfortable and that they belong. And not everyone wants to be in community too, but I think it's really, it enhances your life in such a big way.
Then I get enthusiastic with my granddaughters and seeing them discovering the world at their age, where their innocence, with all the hope that I feel for them, and that I think that their enthusiasm is contagious. Another thing that makes me feel good is nature. When I see my garden with flowers and my husband's garden with vegetables, and I feel privileged and I appreciate it so much, and it makes me feel happy. And hear the birds singing. I come from a mountain area, from the south of France, from the Pyrenees Mountains, and for me it's important to have mountains in the background. So to see mountains fairly close to here, that makes me feel good. I've always felt, I remember even as a child, seeing mountains rise, it gives you a feeling of elevation, but of the soul. And nature is one of the things that helped me in weaving as well, or geometry, like in Kosselish weaving that I learned at Musqueam quite a long time ago, the basics of it. I found that the wool fibers and the canvas actually guided my fingers and made me feel able to draw patterns that I would not have thought of otherwise.
For Shōnagon, paper was muse, a realm of tactile visual inspiration. For Josette, it was wool, a flowing guide, shaping silent stories of every fiber piece by soft piece.
Since I was small, I never believed in titles, in last names, in special things. I always believed that we're all equal, or the same human beings. If a person is the king, I will say hello to the king the same way that I say hello to a beggar. I was lucky in a way because my family were an older family. They have the values, strong values, and that's important. I have siblings, but we brought up in the way that we all respect each other. I was born in one place, but it doesn't mean that your ancestors maybe are not from that place. We are all mixed. So for me, in my blood, I carry so many. I think that it's good to do things. I cannot sit and do nothing. Even I cannot sit and watch TV. I always thought that I have to do something. And I always find responsibilities are very important. If I commit to something, I have to do it. If I start something, I have to finish it.
We all are looking for balance. And as you get older, that gets trickier. Writing poetry is more than balance. Writing poetry is a spiritual endeavor for me. Writing poetry is something very core to my life from my childhood on, and at the same time, it's a doorway. Writing poetry is not the total meaning of my life at all, but it is definitely a doorway. And it's oftentimes I can work through something with poetry, but I'm also expressing an observation, sharing an emotion. I'm very attracted to the relationship between men and women, how far women have come, and how it's all the same. when you read the Pillow Book, it's very much, we're still struggling with some of the same things. And I think all kinds of women philosophers have tried to deal with this, of what is happening and so forth. But I think we haven't really, I don't think we've had the time or the space to deal with it properly. And what I mean by that is that there's been too much war and desecration and destruction for us to work with those kinds of subtle and refined and civilized aspects of our lives. So that's very sad to me that that's the state of affairs, but there it is. I think we have to understand that, of course, being the colonizer is not a great position, but being the colonized is worse. My European ancestors were colonized by the Romans, who were colonized by the Persians, who were colonized by the Greeks. It goes on. And until we understand that we're all in this together and begin to work through things together, and that means everybody. It's a really big, huge thing, and probably, as you say, the crux of the problem. And it has to do with language. At the heart, I'm mostly Anglo-Saxon, so what am I doing? I'm expressing colonization in my very language. So until we see, we have to have peace. We have to achieve world peace, and so far we haven't got the hang of that. I don't know. I just think love and taking care of what you got right in front of you, what you're working on, what you're doing right now is very, very important. Thank you. All of us invisible ladies, thank you very much.
Old age and youth are the things that cannot be compared. It is a truth that resonates today. As our world speeds ahead, new divides appear, silently reshaping the connections between generations. The challenge before us is clear. How do we bridge the gap?
Seniors, especially North American societies, the way seniors are treated is different from other societies. The values are different.
When I see people here, when they're interacting with the older people, it looks like they don't care about them. And of course, they don't have to care about them because they don't even know them. But it's just a way of showing people who are older respect. That's how I interpret it.
Actually, I think a lot of times it's kind of like a blur. Like it's just all these, they're all older women are painted with the same brush until you get to know them, but I think that could be a common perception.
I'm not sure how younger people perceive older women in our society. There is a feel of estrangement between our generations, it seems to me, because the world, from a technical point of view, the world has evolved so fast in the last 20 years that it's almost, it's very hard to catch up with all that.
They don't see you. You're invisible. You suddenly are invisible.
Yet, as we lean closer, a profound truth begins to reveal itself. Beyond these acknowledged limitations and divides, a deeper longing stirs.
But I think we should go beyond that. We should, that's a fact, we cannot deny it, but I think there are still possibilities to communicate directly about life, or the essence of being alive. What does it mean to be alive? What makes it so priceless to be alive? And that's beyond generations and beyond technologies. And so we still can communicate, but there are not so many opportunities. So I actually appreciate the opportunity we have in a moment like this when we can exchange about feelings that we older people may have.
Healthy communication for me is to be able to speak freely without arguments. You can agree or disagree, but no argumental.
I'm fortunate that I have been involved with many, many different, certainly with projects I've dealt with Keiko's group. I'm often connecting with younger people. So I think once you have a conversation and once people get to know you, it's not like, oh, she's just an old woman. It's like that's Susan. And
to me, I think it's all about communication. Sometimes I think that, maybe my daughters, they don't care about me. They are not interested about anything about me. But I think that if I initiate the communication, it might be surprising to me that they actually do care. And I think I should be the one who initiate the communication, because they might have too much on their mind. They might not have the time to chat with me. But if I initiate the communication, it looked to me they do show interest.
Old age and youth often appear as opposite, yet subconsciously, these two phases aren't truly separate, but flow in a continuous cycle. The writing of these women stands as a testament to this profound revelation. For Mary, realizing her own evolving essence unlocked the courage for authentic expression through the guidance of diverse mentors.
The first poem I ever showed Allen Ginsberg, he said, "These are pretty highfalutin words," because I was quite an academic poet. I wasn't a beat poet at that time. I was more academic. And so he said, Mary, what are you hiding? Let's just come out and say it. What's on your mind? So I did do that more. He gave me the courage to do that. And Ann Wallman, my friend and colleague and the leader of the Poetics Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poets at Naropa. So that was, in brief, my experience. It left me with a deep sense that we are taught writing altogether wrong for the most part. And I learned from the beat poets, especially I think William Burroughs was doing a lot of this, of automatic writing. So when Keiko said, just let the pen lead you or whatever, that was great, because that was in tune with what I treasure in writing. Because I think one of the things that you can do is get in touch with the subconscious that way. And this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to open up and be vulnerable and talk about it with people who are supportive to me and kind to me.
The pillow book was just the beginning. From Sei Shōnagon's ancient code to our contemporary homes, I find the timeless human urge to observe, to reflect, and to simply be with our experiences remains unbroken. Through conversations here, I witness this impulse vividly alive. Yvonne bridges distance with her children through reflection. Susan finds solace in imperfection. Josette navigates physical shift, embracing nature's joy. Lucy adapts to profound loss, cultivating inner strength. And Mary bravely faced aging and death through the spiritual craft of her words. These 5 remarkable women are just few among us, and yet Their narratives collectively speak of the profound richness of older women's lives. Much like Shōnagon's timeless writings, our lives are a continuous act of authorship. We are constantly writing, reshaping our understanding, unveiling with each passing season the profound, lasting essence of what it means to be human, to be aged with grace, ignited by wisdom and passion. What quiet observations and reflections are shaping the story of your life?